Alright, what I'm going to talk about in this video is simply, okay, let me just give a parable. I can explain things good with illustrations. Let's say you have Suzanne. Okay, I use the name Suzanne often in my illustration, just a common name I've encountered often, so I use it, okay? I have no special connotation with the name, but okay, Suzanne. Suzanne has debt, student loan. It's also money she borrowed once from an uncle years ago. And she also is behind in payment of her rent. Suzanne has a job. She's a hard worker, but she's stressed out. She works too much. She has no credit card because the bank is not willing to give her a credit card. They say you don't have much potential economically to get a credit card. They said to her, we're not giving you a credit card because you'll get in trouble with it. Suzanne agreed with them. But now she had to pay the rent. She had to pay double rent this month, and she realized if she does that, then, well, she wouldn't have enough money to do groceries. And she realized she couldn't depend upon others because the so-called friends she had were also broke. And she didn't want to call that uncle of hers because that uncle's in dealing drugs, and that uncle has lost his mind. He's so attached to money. So what did Suzanne do? Suzanne took a piece of paper and she wrote down all the necessities she had financially. And she put it there. Then, something Suzanne did. By the way, this is a parable, okay? Suzanne went to the mall. And she took her notebook with her and she wrote down many of the things she would like to have. She saw a refrigerator. She wrote it down. She wrote the price down also. The price, okay. I need to articulate well. She saw a tablet of €400. She wrote it down also. So she was doing this. And there were demons around, hovering around. And those demons saw her. And those demons informed with other demons about her. And the other demons, which were familiar spirits that were attached to her neighbors, told those demons that she has money troubles, that she can be kicked out of her apartment. And then the demons were thinking, what is she doing here? Making a wish list of things she would want to have. She doesn't have any money. Suzanne was not aware demons were there. So she continued. She arrived at home. She saw that she needed €1,100 for the double rent and all the other stuff. So she lacked around €600. That's a lot. And she looked at what she wanted to have, but that she couldn't afford at that moment. And together it was like €4,000. Okay, so now in total she has a deficit of €4,600. Now any worldly individual will use as factual thinking will look at this and think, Suzanne, what are you doing? You're in a fantasy world. Stop what you're doing. Okay. Suzanne now took that paper with the necessities and the things she wanted, and she began to praise the Lord. She began to praise the Lord for provision, for abundance. The next morning she went to her job, did what she had to do. She didn't steal, she didn't beg, any of that. But every morning she decreed abundance. She didn't even bother with the numbers. She treated the numbers as just numbers. When she read that something cost €400, she thought, oh, it's just 400 fictive numbers. Because most money today is just virtual, just numbers on the screen, nothing else. So she kept on doing that every morning. She was not that interested in, she was interested in those objects that she saw, because there's nothing wrong with having an interest in physical objects, whether it's a car, a TV, or a house. There's nothing wrong with that. But her motivation wasn't really about getting those stuff. She was training her mind to not depend upon currency. She knew that currency was relevant, and that was a real thing, that relevance was real, but she knew that currency itself was not real. So she did this every morning. And sometimes she would just go to a mall, and she would see something that, according to the world, is quite expensive. She would say, well, that's very cheap. Because she knew money is just numbers on a screen, or numbers on a screen printed on a piece of paper. So she knew that. So she said, that's very cheap. What happened? Her mind was trained. She was unlearning that attachment to money. And she kept speaking abundance. So suddenly, one day, she's called by some student association club she belongs to in the past. And the student association club told her, Suzanne, you pay too much contribution while you were a student with us. So within 10 days, you'll have restitution. Suzanne thought, okay. It was almost 10 years ago that she graduated college. So within 6 days, she sees that she has 800 euros on her bank account. So what does she do? She takes the 800 euros, pays off her double rent, and she moves on. Then one day she is at a friend's house, and the friend tells her, you know what? Invest in this company, buy a share. And Suzanne thought, why would I buy a share? I know nothing about economics. But the friend told her, just buy it, Suzanne, just try it. It's just 15 euros. So she purchased a share of some supermarket enterprise. Shortly afterwards, within 5 months, she was informed that that share was worth 15,000 now, and she could either keep it or sell it. She sold it, so now she has 15,000 euros. And now she was spending it. She was helping her relatives. She spent it on other people. She wasn't greedy. Okay, she spent it on other people. And after a year, she realized, hold on a minute. A year ago, I was in financial trouble. I was stressed out. I didn't know what to do. But now, I don't have it anymore. And here's the thing. She found that list she made of the things she wanted, of that mall. She had better stuff than what she had written down there. So she didn't idolize the outcome of having those stuff. She used that list that she made as a motivation for her to unlearn negative thinking. And because her thinking concerning finances changed, the outworking changed. Now there were attacks. They were out of the blue. There were people, let's say there were companies claiming she owed them money, where it wasn't true. There were people down in the streets that suddenly began to look dirty at her, wanted to attack her. So there were resistance for real, but she had overcome. This was just a parable I gave unto you. This is not a template of how you should behave when it comes to finances. You don't have to make a list and all of that, but in this case, Suzanne did this and it worked out for her. What it comes down to is your financial expectations ought to be renewed. A lot of you are watching this, your expectations of finances is based on what the world has taught you. And what the world has taught you keeps you trapped in the negative. And you, for years, have tried on the conditions of the world to improve your financial circumstance or to secure a financial outcome. Now I'm telling you, unlearn the ways of the heathen. Speak abundance by yourself. And if you want to follow, or if you want to be inspired by the parable I just gave unto you of that fictive Suzanne, do it. Unlearn how you view and relate to finances. That's very important. That being said, I agree with Christ. Be at peace.